I'm looking at the chat. Okay, Juanita's coming. All righty. Here we go. All right. Thankful for, all right. Okay, it's popping now. Let me see some more. Today, we're going to focus on breast cancer awareness, although this month focuses on caregivers or caregiver awareness, as well as liver cancer awareness. But today, we're going to focus, after I do an opening, before we proceed, I just want to say a couple of things. It's important to take a moment and appreciate the incredible efforts of caregivers who silently and tirelessly support their loved ones, those who may be suffering with cancer, suffering with Alzheimer's, heart disease, PAH, those who may have had a transplant, those who have mental illness, those who might be autistic, just so many different things. We're thankful for our caregivers. They are the unsung heroes who often put their own lives on hold to provide physical, emotional, and spiritual care. Margie, mute your phone, Margie.
Okay.
Grace, mute your phone.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute you. You got it. Okay. Thank you. The role is challenging and demanding, yet caregivers continue to show immense, guess what? Resilience, strength, and selflessness. Today, we recognize their commitment and dedication, and we, as a group, stand with them on their journey. We salute their courage, their devotion, which is a testament to the power of love and care. Let us remember, not just today, but always, to show our gratitude and support for these, our caregivers. All right. I have a couple of additional links that I'll share with the group after this in our message that comes out after the call. So thank you, each of you who are caregivers, who are sharing your grace and dignity with others. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, let's talk about breast cancer awareness. A lot of times we know that October is related to breast cancer awareness, but I wanted to take a couple of moments and say for the group, why we do this over and over and over again each month is because it holds a particular significance for Black and underrepresented communities. There is epidemiological data that has shown that while breast cancer incidence rates are lower in Black women than in white women, Black women are 40% more likely to die from the disease. And this is due in part to the late stage in which it's diagnosed, and often limited access to timely, high-quality treatment. Underrepresented minorities, including Hispanic, Asian, and Native American women, also face their unique challenges. Think about this, including cultural, linguistic barriers, health disparities, which can often lead to delayed diagnoses and treatment. What we're doing tonight, creating awareness, is just the first step in bridging these gaps. It is vital to ensure these communities have access to the information, resources, and preventative measures necessary to detect and treat breast cancer sooner than later. Uh-oh. Got it. What we'd like to do is facilitate access to the timely treatment and ultimately reduce the mortality rates associated with breast cancer in the Black communities and underrepresented communities. Fundamentally, it's not just a health issue. We've said this before. It's a matter of health equality and social justice. When we look for more information of resources specifically designated for these communities, one of the first websites that comes up is that of Sisters Network, Inc., which is a national African American breast cancer survivorship organization. And that we are so fortunate to have a chapter in our area, and our guest tonight represents Sisters Network. I'm very pleased to have speak with us tonight, Deborah Jackson. Deborah, if you come on camera for us, I want to say she says, I don't look like what I've been through. While Deborah believes in the scripture, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Amen. She says, I'm a survivor warrior. While she's going to talk to us about breast cancer tonight, she has survived colon cancer, stage 4, at the age of 43. It was at 50 that she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And at 57, Deborah, yet again, they found a benign mass, which was removed from her pituitary gland. Her testimony, God is good and worthy to be praised. She has been a member of Sisters Network of Central Virginia for 12 years. She started just as a participant in their annual Gift for Life block walk. But when she was diagnosed, it was at that time that she joined the organization. And she joined because she has a passion for creating awareness. Yes, the first step, awareness, and being a person to knock on doors and share the breast health information with women in our homes. Let me give a warm welcome, if you will, to Deborah Jackson, who is the president of the Sisters Network, Central Virginia. Welcome, Deborah. We're so glad that you're joining and sharing your story with us.
Thank you. I don't know how to get the camera back on. I have no clue how to, but I did send a picture to you earlier. Thank you, ladies, for having me. And I just want to thank God for allowing me to share the test until this testimony that I'm about to give. Sisters Network is the African American survivorship organization, and we are here to create awareness with your monthly breast exam, your clinical exam, and your annual mammogram. We know sometimes we don't like to do it, but it's necessary that we do because we need to know our bodies before, that year goes by. Instead of having the doctor to find the lump or whatever's not supposed to be there, we need to be, proactive about our health. We used to go out into neighborhoods, undeserved neighborhoods every September. and we try to canvass at least 1,000 homes and talk to the woman of the house about her breast health. And if they don't open the door, we would still leave a bag on their door. And one year when we did that, this young lady reached out to us to let us know that she went for her mammogram and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So, we touch at least one, but the thing is, that when COVID started, we had to, stop all of that. So we are trying to get back into the community now because the need is there. It's fear, it's lack of transportation, it's lack of funding, and it's just so many other things that's holding people back. And I've even offered to even take time off of work to, to accompany people to the doctor, But when we go knock on the doors, when they see somebody like us and that have gone through it, that puts them in a different place. I have a little more confident now. I'm ready to face, what I have to do. Like I tell people, that temporary discomfort could save your life. So it's important that we do it. Another thing is, my dad had breast cancer. So from that, I went to my dad's sister and I asked, about the different types of cancers in the family. So I did a family tree and I took it to my doctor. But, it was all types of cancers that they had. So when I was diagnosed with the breast cancer, my GYN did the BRCA test. That came back positive. So he said, well, let me just go ahead and remove everything because I don't want it to spread in other parts of your body. So once we took care of that, he also...
Deborah, explain what you mean by I'm going to take care of everything, because everybody doesn't know what everything means.
Okay. When my results came back positive, he did a total hysterectomy. He took everything out. He did a total hysterectomy. And then a couple of months later, he gave me the Lynch test, LYNCH. And all I had to do was swish some scope in a tube and he sent it off to the lab. And that came back negative. So, and I have not heard of the Lynch test. And I had my test done in 2004 until last month. And this is 2023. So, don't be afraid to ask the doctor to do a Lynch test, if you have, different types of cancers in your family, or even if you just want it done, just be proactive and just ask. Maybe they could do.
Deborah, let me explain the Lynch test because Deborah has had colorectal cancer. It's a test that helps to show the genetic connection related to colorectal cancer. So I just want to explain that to the listeners on the call, why you had that done. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then he was also checking to make sure that I didn't have the gene for any other type of cancer as well.
Okay.
So the process, of all of that, is just a matter of swishing, in the tube and sending it off. But, it's up to the individual to go and, really to start checking. And I used to tell people, check your breast, the date of your birthday, if you can't remember when to do it. But sometimes if you're still having your cycle, you may want to do it after your cycle. And that way, any soreness, whatever will be, gone. So you just have a regular breast. And then look at your breast. Look at your breast and make sure it's nothing coming out of your nipples. There's no, red marks or bumps or anything. Because anything could happen. You could hit yourself, you could bruise yourself or whatever. But just make sure you're aware of everything that's going on. And, if you see something, say something. Mm-hmm. If you see something, say something.
Deborah, may I ask you a couple of questions? You shared a nice family history just now in terms of, going to your family. one of the gifts you just shared is that your family talks to each other. There are often stigmas when you don't talk about what you have and the disease that you might have. And so you're left in the dark. So thank you for sharing the openness that your family had and the willingness to share. When did you first realize something was wrong, not with the colon cancer, but with the breast cancer that might be a signal or something for those of us on the call?
Well, what happened? I went for my annual mammogram, and they said, Miss Jackson, I need you to come back because we saw something in the X-ray. And I'm saying, well, I had a chemo burn from the chemo. And I said, no, it's just scar tissue. She said, no, Miss Jackson. I tried to be my own doctor. She said, no, Miss Jackson, come back. And so when I went back, she showed me where the cancer cell was contained inside the milk duct in my left breast. So that from there, they referred me to a surgeon, a breast surgeon, and he took it from there.
Okay. So, how long of a period of time was that from were you having annual mammograms at the time?
Yes, my doctor started mammograms at 35, and he also started the rectal exam at 35. That's how he noted. That's how he found a speck of blood in my stool at 35. I mean, at 43. I'm sorry, at 43.
So this is such a gift that you're sharing, because what I read earlier about late stage and the things that we're talking about, you started examinations and screening at 35 years old.
Yes.
Because of family history.
No.
No.
This was before I even knew anything about the cancer in my family.
So at 30,
this doctor was new. He was new, and I was one of his new patients. And he just, everything that happened, he just, when I turned 35, he said, no, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and this and that and this.
Did he share anything that suggested you might be at high risk at that time?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
What a gift.
No.
You had a good, yeah.
No.
All right. Okay. How did your family respond, Deborah, when you told them that after having colon cancer, you now had a diagnosis of breast cancer? What was your family's response to you?
They was kind of like shocked, but they was real caring, and they accepted it. They said because the colon cancer was hard, but the breast cancer wasn't as harsh as the colon cancer. But I took it into strides, and so my sister and I, we went to the same GYN. So
Okay.
she was tested as well, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer as well. So he did the same thing to her. So he removed everything from her as well.
And she too was BRCA positive?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Wow.
But back in the day, families didn't talk about any type of disease. Your grandparents could have it and would go in another room and change their clothes and then come back out and, act like nothing went on. But yeah, so I just had to do that and I'm the youngest of 5. So I wanted to make sure, that everything was straight with me. So I just took it a step further.
What obstacles and barriers would you say you experienced as a person of color through this journey that you have with both with your cancers? And then Nicole, I'll get to your question next. Okay. What would you say?
I really did not have barriers that I can remember because my GYN, he was on point. My PCP and my colon surgeon, they were husband and wife. So if one wasn't there, the other one was. And then my breast surgeon, you know, he was friends with my GYN because my GYN referred him. So it was like a circle of a family circle. They took excellent care of me. Excellent care of me.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's you know, the barriers that we all hear about and we talk about. Were your physicians? I'm sorry. Let me stop. Nicole, ask your question. I'll come back for that one.
I was curious when you were breast cancer positive and you said everything was removed. You said you had a hysterectomy.
Yes.
Was the cancer removed from your breast?
Yes, it was invasive. I had ductal, it was in my left breast, inside the milk duct. So he had to remove the left breast. So
completely.
Yes, he had to
Okay.
remove that completely. And I elected to have the right one removed as well.
So you had a double mastectomy and a full hysterectomy.
Yes. But I had the double mastectomy in June of 2011. And then in 2012, I had the full hysterectomy.
Okay.
So, Deborah, if you want to explain, and I'll kick it off. When you explain the full hysterectomy, when you're a BRCA positive, that means that you have a likelihood of developing disease that is affected by the BRCA gene, often found in prostate cancer, ovarian cancer, breast cancer. And that's why, from my understanding of things, that is the reason that she was offered and told, let's remove everything so that there is not the risk of developing those other cancers.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's
all
correct.
right. Okay. I just want this team to have the full advantage of all the knowledge that you have.
Listen, make sure if you have any questions, because there are no dumb questions. All questions are important. And you know what? Write them down and take it to them and ask them. And if they, continue to ask.
Belinda, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the BRCA piece. So the breast. So why a full hysterectomy? Is it specific? Is that gene specific to certain organs in the body, or just the reproductive system? Or okay.
So I don't want. Yes, and you want to answer it first, Deborah?
You go ahead.
So what I was going to tell you is BRCA positive, it's a gene. And that gene shows up most often in breast cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cancer, uterine cancer. Those are the predominant places that the BRCA gene is found. So if you now that Deborah knows she is BRCA positive, she expressed that her sister is BRCA positive, having a family history then informs your children, male and female, so that it is a wise decision to have your children tested as early as possible for that BRCA gene too, because as we're saying, you can prevent cancer with this understanding. You can do preventative surgery and things to prevent the cancer from coming. And the BRCA gene also, for women or individuals who have it, there are now treatments that are identified that specifically treat BRCA mutations, so that even though you are BRCA positive, there are drugs biologics or treatments that are specific to those biomarkers that treat those cancers. So it's a significant reason to have that test done for treatment reasons as well as for detection and screening.
And to piggyback, the same thing with the colorectal cancer.
Mhm.
You know, I was not aware of, and I know now what I did not do. I didn't eat right. You know, I was working and not exercising and doing everything that I wasn't supposed to do until, you know, that happened. And now I know, you know, you have to make sure that you're eating right. You know, the traffic is flowing like it should, because if not, you know, you need to go seek, you know, some attention, because that's the bulk of the problem. You know, when it's stopping and it's clogging up and everything, you know. And then don't be afraid to look in the toilet, you know, because that's another, you know, sign right there. Look at the toilet tissue.
Thank you. You're speaking of the colon cancer.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, know your bodies. So I had a adenomatous polyp when I was 40 years old, that if I had not done the fecal occult exam and my doctor sent me for a colonoscopy, I would have waited until screening recommended back then till I was 50. The indolent way that colon cancer grows, I could have been a stage 4. So just paying attention to doing annual exams, allowing fecal occult tests, and looking at blood in your stool are good things to do, and sharing that with your children, which now, because I was 40, you all know, many of you know my son Charles, he needs to start getting colonoscopies at 30.
And that's true. My oldest son started at 30, and I think he's had maybe 3. Yeah, but that's very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Oh, this is exciting stuff, Deborah. You're sharing with us so many ways to understand your journey, and what it also provides is a hope. You know, we often hear how physicians miss or don't, but the care that you've been given, wow.
It's amazing, because I had my colon resection May the 28th of 2004. Then while he was resectioning it, he saw the spot on my liver where it had metastasized. June 30th of 2004, I had my liver resection.
Yes.
You know.
So tell us about that liver resection. I've got something I want to say, but that's a gift too, that you had liver resection with colon cancer, because that's huge. That's it.
Well,
yeah.
My doctor, he tried all he could. I didn't know how he was going to do it. He wanted to have a pump inserted in my liver, but the insurance company denied it. But he fought and fought and fought, because, and then again, when my GYN wanted to do the total hysterectomy, the insurance denied it. And he said, oh, absolutely not. He said she had breast cancer and colon cancer. Get them back on the phone. And he performed it. But yeah, I just had to have my, you know, a portion of my liver resection. And that surgery really wasn't bad. The worst part of it was the scar, and that's it. You know, but other than that, I was a good patient. You know, I was a very good patient. You know, I just took everything for what it's worth. I didn't complain. You know, I just went for it, you know, because I knew I was in good hands. I knew I was in good hands.
Being in good hands, how do you feel you advocated for yourself, or were you a part of the decision making for your treatments?
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about that, and how you were able to communicate with your physicians.
Well, they gave me the baseline. And so I was still working at night. And so when I had to take chemo, I would go to the doctor's office and sit there for 4 hours with chemo. Then I would go home. The nurse would meet me here and hook me up to a pump. that I had to carry around with me for 46 hours from Monday through Wednesday every other week. You know, and that went on for like 6 months. Yeah, 6 months. And through it all, I was able to, and I basically did a small clinical trial while I was trying the new medicine. And I ended up with neuropathy, you know, but he stopped it in time enough to, you know, I got my feelings back in my fingers, but not in my feet. And that's been 19 years, but I'm still moving, so can't complain, won't complain.
So, Friends on the Phone back in 2004 was when they first began understanding that you could resection livers if you had one spot in your liver and cure colon cancer, because you're removing that portion of it and the liver regenerates, and it regenerates without that disease in it. But that was back in the day when that was new, as was what you're describing. I bet you I can tell you got oxaliplatin, which was new.
Mm-hmm.
That was the drug that caused that neuropathy, but it was one of those that came around that did a great thing with overall survival and benefit for you. So, wow. I saw someone put in the chat, I think it was Sharon, that said, "You are a miracle. You know, you are a miracle and truly a testimony to God's goodness. Thank you for sharing." You know, when I spoke with you and you shared your story and your passion, I thought this was one of encouragement and your way of just talking about doing what's right and the things that need to be done. Tell us more about the resources that you have at Sisters Network for those who are looking for screening, you know, prevention, more about testing, genetic testing. How can people find out more information about that?
We can send people to, we don't do the medical part of it. We do support part, and say, like, if a woman is going through treatment and she falls behind in her rent or her utility bills, you know, the nurse navigator from the hospital will send us information, and our executive board would meet, you know, and discuss it and determine how much of it we will pay, and we will pay, you know, your bills and give money for food.
Wow.
And then it's also, when you're newly diagnosed, what we do is we send bags all across the United States, and it consists of Dr. Susan Love breast book. It has a journal in it. It has information about us, what we do, who we are, and, you know, a notebook. And we tell people not to read the whole book, you know, because it has everything that you need to know. And like I said, we send it across the United States free of charge. All we need is their name, address, phone number if they want, and an email address in case we have events and we can invite them to our events.
So is Sisters Network is a part of the Susan Komen Foundation?
No, it's two
No?
separate.
It's separate?
It's separate,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, our founder, she started this organization in 1994 because she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it wasn't in the African American survivorship organizations around. So, and next year would be 30 years.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But we do meet every month, except in December, and we do have like support meetings after our business meetings when we meet on the third Sunday of every month.
Okay. Where's your office located?
Well, we don't have an office right now. Everything is still virtual.
Okay. Did you once have one like?
We did. We
Okay.
did. We had two. We had one on Clay Street, and then we
Yes.
moved to Midlothian, Virginia.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So now
virtual makes it easy these days to
Yes.
get things done. How do you feel today?
I feel wonderful because, I am so grateful that I am able to, share this information because, it helps everybody. I even do it at work, and I work at the 911 center, and I go to all floor shifts, and I talk to male and female about their breast health because it's important. I think it's important. They may not, but I think it's important. And I share with them, and I give them a pink ribbon every year, and pink candy, and encourage them, to check themselves. And then we've been having a lot of outreaches, and I've been just talking. But, I don't deem it robbery to, share this information because, I'm helping somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have two questions, but I want to give our family on here an opportunity to ask questions if they have any.
I have one, Lisa.
Yes.
Deborah, at
Yes.
what age should a person stop getting mammograms, or is there an age?
I don't think they should stop because, I just talked to a lady 2 weeks ago. She is 76 years old and was just diagnosed. So I wouldn't stop.
Okay.
I
So-
would not stop.
Okay.
So Graham is 90 and is of good health, and and your life expectancy, we don't know what it is. So she just told you can keep getting them.
I'm not the doctor though, but I'm just saying I would continue on,
And you
what
know
does your
what?
doctor say? What does your doctor say, Graham?
She wants me to continue, but then you hear so many things. Well, after a certain age, you don't have to, but I just want to get it but my doctor just says, do it.
Yeah,
And so I'm going to do it for the next 10 years.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the question.
Welcome.
Mhm.
Hi, Lisa.
Yes, Evelyn.
One of my questions are the BRCA gene. How do you spell that BRCA?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Deb.
BRAC.
Mm-hmm.
BR what?
AC.
Oh,
BRAC.
AC. Okay, good.
It's
My other question is, why is it so hard to detect breast cancer when you have dense breasts?
Because of the tissue. The forming of the tissue is like all over. I really can't answer that because I don't know about the dense breast part. But it is, you can see, I'm not even gonna try to address it because I
Right.
really don't know about that part.
Okay.
This is Nicole. I think it's because most women have a lot of fibrotic tissue in their breast, which is not harmful, but it is dense. And so
Right.
that sometimes is why it's harder to detect.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Thank you.
And also, Evelyn, I have very dense breast tissue, and I had breast cancer. And one of the reasons that it was hard to detect was because of the density. So what I have to do, I have to get I just can't get a regular mammogram. I have to get a 3D mammogram.
Right.
Plus, I have to get an MRI. And I have to do that every 6 months.
You have to
Right.
get all 3 or 2.
But what they tell me is that when they look at my tissue, it's like looking through concrete. So they can't detect a mass. It's hard.
Oh. Okay.
I'll help you understand. If you think of what Nicole described as thick fibrous tissue, that is the dense tissue versus fatty tissue, the color when you're looking at mammograms is black and white.
Um,
So when
Mm.
you look at that dense breast tissue, it looks very much like a tumor. So it's hard to detect it because the color looks like the tumor. So it's looking the same versus fatty tissue. If you have more fatty tissue, it's black. And if a tumor shows up in that fatty tissue, black with that white dot, you know what you've got. Okay. Yes, no, yeah, maybe so.
Yes. And the other thing I wanted to say is that when someone said something about age and how long you should take a mammogram, like Miss Grace, I'm 81 and I just had a mammogram 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and I will continue to have him.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's
Thank
wonderful.
you, Evelyn. That's wonderful.
Mhm.
That is excellent. And I was going to spell for you. It's an acronym, the BRCA, BRCA that way. It's the BRCA, BRCA.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to make sure we,
Okay.
okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My name is Constance.
Mm-hmm.
In reference to the organization, the women that are in that organization, do you have to have had breast cancer, or can anyone join the organization?
Anyone can join. We have
Mhm.
3 levels. We have survivors, which can join for free. And
Mhm.
we have our associate members, who are sometimes family members of a survivor or just, friends of survivors. They have to pay a one-time $25 fee, and then we have
Mhm.
volunteers.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you all had your walk, you do your walk in September, is that correct?
Yes. Normally it's the last Saturday in September,
Okay.
and hopefully we'll do another one, next year, because
Okay.
that was our first walk.
Okay. Excellent. So thank you everyone for joining tonight. Let us thank Deborah. Are there other questions? We usually go over a little anyway, but we thank everybody for joining. And Deborah, thank you so much for
Thank you,
sharing
Deborah.
your
You're welcome.
story
Thank you,
and
Deborah.
just what we can do. And I'm so thrilled with your experience. We hear how doctors aren't doing so many things, but to hear what your doctors have done with your journey is just wonderful, and how you've been empowered. This is our first step, team: awareness,
Yeah.
understanding, and we'll continue that. I want to make an announcement, share with the group. It's November next month. We're going to talk about hospice and what are we going to talk about? Hospice and what's on there? Where's Japs? I need to look. Hospice care and something else. But the two that go hand in hand, I'm having a moment. And what we're going to do with the
Palliative care.
thank you, palliative care and hospice next month, so that we can understand the difference in what we need to do and how it benefits us. What we do, and I want us to remember, we usually meet on the 4th Wednesday. But guess what? It's going to be the 3rd Wednesday because that's the Thanksgiving week. And we're doing that. We're doing that in December as well. So make a note of that now. And we've got someone from Capital Caring who's going to come and speak to us about palliative care and hospice. And then the following month in December, Dr. Jane Middlebrooks is going to talk to us about COVID, pneumonia vaccines, and flu vaccines, and what that's all about. So, and that too will be the third Wednesday of the month, not the fourth, because it's around the holiday. So we want people to get your holiday on, but we still want to keep the conversations going. All right. So you'll get the reminders and all. Yes, Graham?
Lisa, I was just
saying, I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Mary?
what was the topic for December? Is that the COVID one?
That's the COVID one.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And tiny stairwells, if you go and look up Jane Middlebrooks, that's what she is known for talking. She was one of the specialists for COVID from Atlanta. And she also she's a cardiovascular specialist, but she was assigned to the task force for for COVID and did a lot. So you can find her quite frequently on CNN talking about COVID. She also is doing some things with menopause and women's health. So we might get her back for that. I grew up with Jane in Atlanta, so I can tap her every now and then to come in and do some things for us. So I'm excited for those two things that are coming up. Thank you for not thinking it robbery to come. I thank you, Deborah. I can't thank you enough. And thank you for letting us know that anyone can join Sisters Network. When you find that you're going to have your next walk, if there are many of us who are part of other organizations, and if we can partner and do a walk or do collaborations with you, let us know that. We'd like to do that kind of partnering.
Okay.
Okay. This is family. Nicole, welcome. We are glad to have you as a part of the family and joining us when you can. I'm going to have Nicole speak to us at some time too, because she's a survivor who's living with pulmonary arterial hypertension. And she has a beautiful story. She just is a caregiver too. She is helping her own dear friend who just had a lung and heart transplant because of that. So she's got a story herself to tell. So
I appreciate you for inviting me to this. I look forward to everyone.
Oh, good, good. So everybody, I'm going to end and cut things off. Thank you for joining. We'll stop with the recording and have a good night. I will be on for as long as you want to be on.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.